wonder what you'd think if I said this. I wonder if it's too much of a celebration and it's creepy. There are people who can't say what they want and live only by caring about others' opinions. This time, I'd like those people to listen to this story. I think this story can be applied to business. You may have heard of the 262 rule, also called Pareto's Law. In dialectics, 20% listen to classes seriously, 60% listen normally, and the remaining 20% skip classes. So the attitude towards classes can be classified as 2, 6, 2. This applies not only to humans, but also to working relationships. Among the workers, only 20% actively gather food, while 60% work normally, and the remaining 20% are the ones who slack off. If you gather only those who perform, can you say all are working? It seems not, as some start to slack, become slow, and ultimately they split into 2 versus 6 versus 2. If you only gather slacking ants, some will start working, dividing into 2, 6, 2. This theory is based on collecting statistical data on human movements in everyday life, assuming regularities, rather than something scientific. The law of this parade has errors like 6 becoming 7 or 5 in the case of 2 to 6 to 2, but it accurately revitalizes the natural setting. Implementing this law helps anticipate the mindset of proactive individuals, like the extent of self-esteem in favorable people, with 20% of the world having self-esteem, and conversely, 20% lacking self-esteem. No matter how hard you try to change, in the end, you end up being disliked by 20% of people. If that is the natural explanation, the best course of action for us is to stick to our own thoughts, to prioritize the 20% who like me, instead of being trapped by people who cannot be erased and disliked. Changing stance to avoid being disliked gives impression of being hard to approach. No one knows your thoughts. You'll end up rejected by all, unable to be accepted even by the 20% who dislike you. 20% who should like you for your beauty will be lost. Certainly some universally liked people exist, but in reality, 20% dislike them and 60% don't care. Everyone lives with a facade and their true feelings. Just like how your true feelings expressed through your SN differ from the facade you put on at work or school, if you're a people pleaser, you won't know your true preferences, and in the end, you'll be disconnected from your authentic self. Someone who doesn't understand you is not unimaginable, like desiring a truly understanding friend. If you express your true feelings, 20% will empathize, but 60% don't care initially, and the remaining 20% will dislike you regardless of your words. Only 20% of people changing attitude after expressing true feelings were initially undecided. In many cases, positive impression of others helps empathize as you had similar thoughts, and empathy level corresponds to favorability. Of course, people who think like psychopaths, like clowns, have fewer empathizers initially, so even if they receive the same impression and recognition as Rikakin or Hajime Shato-san. For example, the YouTube followers won't reach 6 million or 7 million. This is because my thinking is always in the minority. I don't make videos to be supported by everyone, so I can make unique statements. Being a clown has value. Love life includes love, time, relationships, work, and press conferences. And no matter how many times you experience something thin, it will be erased from your memory. What you recall later is always a dense experience, whether good or bad, including others. What are people concerned about complexion and unable to express thoughts aiming for initially? Are they trying to be cool characters? Just as plants need water, heart now requires sincerity.